Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, and as always, the YouTube channel. WWE Survivor Series is this coming Sunday. Let's get right down to your questions. This is from Chili Willy 90. Do you think the Miz face turn is legit or a swerve to cost Team Foley their match against Team Ziggler? I suppose it's always a possibility in WWE. Never say never, anything's possible, but I really feel that turning Miz back heel would be counterproductive. There's some kind of momentum here with the Miz as a babyface and a lot of potential. So I think it would be a bad idea to do that. I think WWE knows that Miz is better off at this point being a babyface. He's been a heel for so long, it's gotten stale, and the people want to cheer him. And he got a huge reaction at the SmackDown tapings this week, but then again, it was in Cleveland, so it was his hometown. But like I said, all the momentum is starting to build up for Miz as a babyface, and I think that that's the direction that WWE should go with him. But as you mentioned here, it is possible that there could be some sort of swerve at the last minute to throw people off. You never know. Hey Aaron, what are your thoughts on Roddy Piper's comments on Linda McMahon's campaign? I do agree with him to some degree. I feel that Linda McMahon and WWE could have spent some more of that money to help out their talent and help out guys that have busted their asses for the company over the years. But then again, WWE has done a lot. They've done the rehab for wrestlers, paying for the wrestlers to get rehab. And no one's pointing a gun to your head and forcing you to sign a WWE contract. So guys like Roddy Piper and everybody else, they agreed to WWE's terms. WWE gives them a contract and they sign it. So I don't know. It does come off as a little bit bitter when you sign a contract, you get paid a lot of money, and then years later you complain about it. I mean, you signed the contract, you know what you were getting yourself into. People like Rick Rude and Mr. Perfect, I mean, they signed the contract, and they ended up paying the price in the end, but they knew what they were getting themselves into. So there is some responsibility from the wrestlers, but then again, there's also some responsibility from the company to provide for the performers. And I definitely feel WWE could do a little bit more, but like I said, the wrestlers have a choice as well. This is from Mesner73. Love the show, keep it up. Plus, the top 25 wrestlers in WWE was perfect. Well, thank you for that. Hey Aaron, please answer in video. In December, I'm going to my first ever live wrestling event, which is a TNA event. What should I expect? Give me some input on live events. I was at a TNA house show back in May, and over the years, I've heard nothing but good things about TNA live events. People have always told me that the shows were really good and much better than the actual television shows. And I had to see it to believe it. And this year, I went to a TNA live event in Ontario, California, and I agree with all the hype. TNA puts on a great live event. It's very fan-friendly. They have the wrestlers before the show taking pictures. You can get autographs, and there's all sorts of things they do throughout the show to make it interactive. So TNA definitely puts on a really good show, and they try to make it so every fan who came to the show is satisfied. They really put out the effort. Even if there's only 500 people in the building, they still try to make every one of those 500 people happy. So I think you'll really enjoy the show. It's very wrestling-oriented. They pretty much ignore all the storylines. They just have the guys go out there and have matches, and there's a lot of comedy. And they just play to the crowd a lot. Very, very fun show. So I think you'll have a really good time. Of the Raw shows and SmackDown shows and pay-per-view shows you've personally been to, what has been your favorite event and least favorite event? Well, it's easy to say my favorite event was WrestleMania 21 because it was WrestleMania. But of all the Raw shows, I think my favorite one was 2003. It was the Raw where Linda McMahon was tombstoned by Kane, and also Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho had a rematch from WrestleMania, and that was a really good match, a very underrated match, I think. I don't hear people talk about that one a lot, but that was a really good match, and obviously not as good as the WrestleMania 19 match, but it was still an excellent match for live television. And then there was a a super show in 2005. I think it was in Anaheim. It was right before SummerSlam. It was the beginning of the build to SummerSlam. Hulk Hogan came out as a surprise for a big 6-man tag match. He teamed up with Shawn Michaels and John Cena. That was historic in itself right there. But that was the beginning of the build for Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels. So that was one of my favorites. And my least favorite, my least favorite would be the house show I went to in 2003 just because it was so bland, and maybe the house show I went to this year in Anaheim. But you're talking about Raw and SmackDown at pay-per-view. Oh, okay. The worst live event for a TV taping that I went to was 2009, if you all remember the Denver debacle, and Raw ended up moving from Denver to Los Angeles, and they had SmackDown and Raw. The SmackDown show was just awful. I mean, the crowd attendance was maybe 3,000 people. It was piss poor, and the show just wasn't that good. I mean, the matches were dull, and there was a match with Umaga. I think it was actually his last match before he got released, but it was really bad, and I just was bored with it. And it didn't seem like WWE put much effort into it at all. So it was kind of a mess, and yeah, that's the worst one. I didn't really care for the Raw either, with although it was infamous for Mr. Kennedy returning and then getting released that week. But that show, I wasn't crazy about the whole the teams, them coming out in the jerseys and everything. Although we did get Batista coming out with a basketball, so that pleased the internet wrestling community. But beyond that, that show was nothing. This is from Dan 2007. Who do you see winning the WWE and World title matches at Survivor Series this Sunday? Good question. I think for the triple threat match, I don't see John Cena winning. Usually the way WWE books it is that the guy who's losing at the pay-per-view gets the final word on the last Raw, on the go-home Raw. And John Cena this past week got the pinfall on CM Punk. So because of that and the way WWE tends to book things, I see CM Punk retaining the title on Sunday. Ryback can lose this match without actually having to take the fall. So I think the most likely finish is Ryback hitting his finisher on John Cena and then CM Punk throwing Ryback out of the ring and pinning John Cena. That is the predictable finish, and I don't know if people are going to be thrilled with that, but that's what I see being the most likely outcome. And of course, there's always the possibility that Ryback could get it and then lose it next month, but that would be kind of pointless. Maybe WWE is going to change plans and do Cena versus The Rock at the Royal Rumble. So in that case, John Cena could win. You never know. But my bet would go on CM Punk. And then as far as the world title match goes, Big Show is still being advertised as defending the world title against Sheamus, although it could change with Sheamus being the champion and Big Show challenging. So I just don't understand if Sheamus is winning back the title, why even put the title on Big Show in the first place? If he's just gonna have a 1 month reign and then it goes right back to Sheamus. So my gut tells me Show is gonna somehow retain, and there's some sort of long-term plan for Big Show, maybe him defending the world title like against Ryback at WrestleMania. Who knows? Something along those lines, but. One would think that Big Show won the title for a reason and not just to hold it for 1 month, but we'll see. Hey Aaron, love the show. Please answer in video. What do you think will happen to Paul Heyman once CM Punk loses the WWE title? From Michael in Wyoming. I think Paul Heyman will be around for the long haul. I think he'll be around at least until Brock Lesnar finishes up. Obviously, he's around on TV while Brock Lesnar is taking time off, because he has limited dates on his contract. But once Brock Lesnar comes back, I'm sure Paul Heyman will be associated with Brock again, and that will continue. But yeah, once Brock is done, I don't know if WWE will keep Paul Heyman around. I mean, he's been doing a tremendous job, so I like him being a manager and being a mentor for maybe have him manage some of the up and coming talent, not just CM Punk and Brock Lesnar, maybe somebody else. I think that Paul Heyman could help out a lot of the younger talent as a mentor, as a mouthpiece, whatever you want to call it. This is from WWE Nation 223. Please answer in video. Hey Aaron, which WrestleMania main event do you think was better, Michaels versus Cena or Rock versus Cena? Well, in terms of star power and drawing power, it clearly goes to Rock versus Cena. But in terms of match quality, I think you clearly have to go with Cena versus Michaels. I mean, that was a great wrestling match between those two. Rock versus Cena was more about the star power and the two big heads, two bulls butting heads, that sort of thing. So they were different kind of matches. All right, this one comes from B Cruz 16. Hey Aaron, November 13th marked the 7-year anniversary of Eddie Guerrero's death. What are some of your fondest memories of him? Well, I think my all-time favorite Eddie Guerrero moment was him winning the WWE title at the Cow Palace at No Way Out 2004, just because it was something you never thought was going to happen. And it was certainly a surprise to me at the time. I thought that Eddie Guerrero was just a guy for Brock Lesnar to beat on the road to WrestleMania, but to everyone's surprise, Eddie Guerrero pulled off the big win. So it was something really shocking, and it was a really cool moment. It's in California, large Hispanic audience in the crowd. So it was really something special. And then WrestleMania 20, Eddie Guerrero retaining the WWE title, and then at the very end celebrating with Chris Benoit. Just a magical moment right there. And another one being, all the skits with him and Chavo doing the Los Guerreros. Those were great. And the Judgment Day pay-per-view with JBL when Eddie Guerrero was just busted open and his whole face was covered in blood. I mean, it was one of the sickest blade jobs I can recall. So that was very graphic. And then when he turned heel and had the feud with Rey Mysterio, doing the promos in the ring with the lights dimmed, and that different side of him. Everything Eddie Guerrero did was great. So he's definitely missed to this day, and he was one of the all-time great WWE performers, no doubt about it. All right, that'll wrap it up for this edition of No DQ&A Video. Subscribe, youtube.com/NoDQCAW. Tell a friend on Facebook or Twitter or tout, whatever. And I'll see you next time for more No DQ&A Video.